In the studio tonight, we've got the new Alienware Pro wireless mouse. Now this mouse is an 8 kHz on wired and 4 kHz wireless gaming mouse from Alienware, and hoping it might rival some of the Razers and Logitech G Pros out there. So we're going to unbox it and we're going to test it on my gaming setup behind me just to see if it actually works out. So, opening the box, you're greeted instantly with the mouse itself. You can either buy this in the Lunar Light that I have here or the Dark Side of the Moon version. Personally, I love the sort of the light colour peripherals. All my Razers in the Mercury at the moment, so I've gone for the Lunar Light. Taking it out of the box itself, before we start looking around the mouse, I'm going to see what else is in here. So just some packaging. We've got a braided USB to USB-C, so we can charge the mouse. Little alien head sticker. Instruction manual and safety pamphlet, and a little block. Okay, so this allows you to put the wireless receiver and the cable itself. So when you're running it wirelessly, if you want the dongle sitting in front of you on your desk and you don't need to charge it, you can put that out on your desk and plug that into your PC. And then when you want to charge the mouse, you can just pop that off and plug it straight in to the mouse itself. Looking around the mouse itself, this is a very light esports or pro mouse. Straight away, I can feel the weight of it is incredibly light. Dell say it's under 60 grams, so we're going to have a quick look at that first thing. 59 grams, so just under 60 grams. 58 grams without the receiver. Well done, Dell. Now, the way that they've obviously shaved off some of the weight, there's literally no frills. They've taken away sort of the thumb rest and other bits and pieces from the previous Alienware range. I can see the wheel, very much like the Logitech G Pro. It's like skeletonized. They've taken as much of the material away as they can. And there literally is absolutely no frills with this mouse. So the compact dongle is stored in the back of the mouse, easy to pull out. It's nice that they're using USB-C for the dongles, unlike the USB-A that a lot of other mice use. The only downside to this is a lot of PCs don't have many actual USB-Cs on the actual PCs or motherboards themselves, which is why that they have included that little block. So you can plug the wireless receiver into the block and then into your USB cable there. And that's how they kind of expect you to run it. Now for the buttons, Alienware have used a magnetic force key plate with optical switches. They do sound unusual, quite quiet, but it's pretty responsive. Now hopefully as well, with it being optical switches and magnetic, it should last. And that's something that'd be great if you've ever suffered with the double clicks that you get on a lot of Logitech mice. We've got side buttons on the left-hand side of the mouse, and you see a forward and back button. They're easy to press. They sit nicely where your thumb will be, and they click really well. So no problems hitting those side buttons. No buttons on the other side, so it's a bit of a shame if you're a left-handed user. And the actual mouse wheel, it's very quiet on the scroll, but it scrolls nicely with some nice detents. Click works very well. That's really easy to click. I like that. That's something I hate on some mice where they've got a really stiff middle click that you end up misclicking it when you're trying to do it in the heat of battle. But that is absolutely brilliant. So great work on that one. Turning the mouse over, you can see we've got skids at the front and the back. Not sure I'm a fan of it in this sort of configuration, but we'll see how well it runs. We've got an on and off switch, and when I turn it on, see we've got a little light on the side. There's no other lighting on the mouse, so the alien head is just painted on. There's actually no LED in there, which is a bit of a shame, but I'm guessing they're trying to save weight and battery life. And then we've got a little profile button under there as well. Other than that, we've just got the USB-C port at the front for charging, and that's pretty much it. Now, with regards to battery life, Alienware are saying that this has got up to 120 hours if you're on at 1000 kHz polling rate while wireless, but if you switch to the 4 kHz, you're only going to get 36 hours of battery life. Now, me personally, I usually only run at 1 kHz, so that'll be fine for me. I'll probably be running at that. But we're going to now set it up, install the Alienware Command Center on my PC behind, and we're going to test out these features. Okay, so I've charged the mouse, I've plugged in my dongle into the extension lead. So this is the little block you get. So you can take the USB-C off here and plug it directly into your mouse and run it wired. Now, when you do run it wired, It actually then runs at 8 kilohertz if you wish it to. Or we unplug that, the USB-C dongle is in this little block, we plug it in here, and then we're running it wirelessly at a maximum of 4 kilohertz. So instantly it appears in my Alienware Command Center. I've got an M18R2 I'm using here. If you don't have an Alienware laptop or desktop, you will probably need to just download the Alienware Command Center software. And when you plug in that mouse, it will prompt you to do it. If not, you can get it directly from Dell's website. So I click on my mouse, and you can see straight away there is no lighting on this mouse. I don't need to worry about adjusting any of the RGB lighting. This is purely like a gaming mouse. But what we can do straight away in here is we can actually change some of the functionality of the wheel, the buttons, and there is also a DPI switch underneath, which is showing you here. In the settings menu, this is more important, we have the DPI level. This is obviously one of the most important steps. As you can see, we've got 5 levels of DPI. By pressing the little button at the bottom here, I'm scrolling between them. So that can be quite useful. I usually run at about 800 DPI, so I'll usually leave it there. That can then be adjusted. You'll notice as well that for each of the DPIs, you can adjust the polling rate. You can see I've already done this because I'm at my 800 DPI. I've changed that to 4 kilohertz or 4000 hertz. And that is incredibly responsive. We have a calibration option, which gives you a list-off distance. Set it to 1 millimeter, which is absolutely fine for my use. There's the battery here. It tells you your battery threshold, where it can reduce the polling rate at a battery level to save you a bit of battery life. Because obviously the higher the polling rate, the quicker you will deplete your battery. And then just lastly, we've got a little update here. You can check your firmware and update it from within this setting. So it's quite basic, obviously because there is no lighting, it is just literally the controls of the mouse, and if you want to adjust any of the key binds to the mouse, which you'll very often do in the game that you're playing anyway. So now, just want to quickly talk about the actual mouse's performance itself. It is very, very accurate. I'm actually really impressed. It feels like a super light with regards to the actual feel and the shape. The buttons, let me just bring my mic in so you can hear the click of the buttons. So here we go, left and right click. They feel great. The mouse wheel slightly ratcheted as you move it around, and it has a nice subtle click. It's actually very easy to click mouse, which is something I like. I've had mice before where it's really hard to press it in to click it. No problems here, so you can actually use that for in games. We've got the side, front and back buttons. They all feel very tactile, very responsive with a nice click. Then we've got one little light here, which will indicate when we're low on battery, and you can change the DPI on there. Underneath, as I mentioned earlier on, you've got an on and off switch. You can see we've got just that profile switcher that I use to switch through the DPIs, the Teflon feet, and then just that storage pouch at the back for putting that dongle in if you're running it wired or you're just carrying the mouse around. So it is, obviously no frills, this is purely a performance mouse. And it really does feel like it. Now, when we look at a previous Alienware mouse, this is now a couple of years old. Although this has a lot of bling, a lot of light, bigger buttons, a nice wheel, it is incredibly heavy compared to the Alienware. And you really notice that when you're moving it around. This, you can really flick it around, no problems at all. This, it does feel quite cumbersome after using the new mouse. Also, the wings and everything, it works fine, but I do find this new shape much more comfortable. I think it'll be much better in game. And other than that, we've got all the same buttons, but it's just a much more slimmed down shape, much more of a sort of a pro aesthetic. And I think most people would prefer using a mouse like this. So just using a bit of mouseaccuracy.com just to see how precise it is. And I've literally just started using this mouse. I haven't had a lot of time practicing with it, but it does feel incredibly responsive. Not missing any of these. I could be a bit fast, but again, I haven't practiced with this mouse much at all. So this is actually not bad. It's a completely new mouse. Oops, I've had a misclick. Overall, very responsive, feels great. I think, you know, with a little bit of practice, this could be a really good sort of primary mouse. If you're used to sort of a super light, this shape will feel very similar to you. I'm a Death Adder user myself, So this does feel a little bit smaller than I'm used to, but having used this for a little while, I'm actually really enjoying it.